with you all and talk a little bit about Industrial Light and Magic and Lucasfilm. My name is Kim Paris, and I am the Emerging Talent Manager at Industrial Light and Magic in Vancouver and San Francisco. And today I'm going to be with you just chatting a little bit more about our company and pathways into our studio. Shannon Wiggins is also here with me, and she'll be able to help answer some questions as well. Just a note off the top, we aren't going to share anything super secret, but just no photography or recording of anything in the call today. As mentioned, we will have some time at the end for Q&A, so we'll be able to answer any questions that you might have from throughout the presentation. So just note down any questions that might come up for you. Awesome. So hopefully some of you have heard of Lucasfilm or of Industrial Light and Magic, but just in case you haven't, we want to share a little bit more of who we are. So Lucasfilm was created by George Lucas, who you may have heard of. He started his own company, Lucasfilm, and it was away from Hollywood in Northern California. And he created it in order to be able to work on the projects that he wanted to. So since Lucasfilm started, there has been several other studios started under the company to support the projects that Lucasfilm does. So as you can see there, we have Lucasfilm Animation, which, as the name says, it's our animation studio. We also have ILM Immersive, which is our award-winning storytelling studio, which has been a pioneer in kind of a new era of interactive entertainment in virtual and mixed reality. We have Skywalker Sound, which brings all of the sound and music to life for some of the films that you've seen. And then Industrial Light and Magic, which is our visual effects studio. And Industrial Light and Magic is kind of what we're going to focus on today. We're going to talk to you about the rules and our pipeline, some of the resources that we recommend, and some of the career pathways into working at a studio like ILM. So the best place to start with who Industrial Light and Magic is to show you. And so let's start with our reel. So this is going to show you some of the projects we've worked on over the last 45 plus years.
Monsters are more than just horrid looks and claws and teeth.
Are those lightsabers? Are you a Jedi?
Okay, so hopefully some of that looks familiar or you've seen some of that before. So as mentioned, George Lucas, who started Industrial Light and Magic, he was creating the very first Star Wars movie, and he was looking for a visual effects studio that could do the effects that he needed for his film. And he couldn't find anyone. And so he started his very own visual effects studio. And that's how we started. Since then, we've grown quite a bit, and we work on not just our own Lucasfilm projects, but we work with quite a few different clients. If you are interested in the history of ILM or kind of our origins and how we got started, there is a docuseries on Disney Plus, which is called Light and Magic, and it gives a great overview on our history and how we got started. So as mentioned, we have grown quite a bit since those early days when George Lucas started Industrial Light and Magic. We are now a global studio. We have 5 locations, so San Francisco, Vancouver, London, Sydney, and Mumbai. Mumbai just opened up last year, and we work very globally. So it's each studio isn't really a silo. We work collaboratively together. That means that those of us in North America have early morning meetings with London and late meetings with Mumbai and Sydney. So everyone is working together across the globe in all of the studio locations. So from the very beginning, ILM has had a really strong culture. It's been a priority for the company. So creativity and innovation have really been the backbone. Innovating and making sure that we are pushing the boundaries with what we're doing and how we're bringing magic to life in projects has been really key. Inclusion and representation is a big focus for us as well. We want to make sure that the stories we are telling are representative of our viewers and those that are seeing our work. And curiosity and collaboration is also a big key to how we work at ILM. So it is a big team project to bring visual effects to life. It is not individuals doing the work. It is a team of artists and production and business operations. And so collaboration is very key at our company. So these are some of the movie franchises that we have been a part of. This isn't all of them, but just a few of the ones that you might recognize. So we've been a part of a lot of different franchises over the years. Something else I like to point out is that I think a lot of people, when they think of ILM, think of us as really just doing feature films. That's not really the case. We do a lot of different type of projects and work. So yes, we do feature films. That is kind of our bread and butter, but we also work on TV shows. So Percy Jackson, the one that's on Disney Plus right now, we recently worked on that. We also work on animated features. So Ultraman is the most recent one that we've worked on. And then we also work on special venue projects. So ABBA Voyage, I don't know if any of you have heard of that, but it is a concert experience in London. You actually get to see ABBA in concert, but ABBA isn't actually there. So we've worked with the band to be able to bring them to life through visual effects. Stagecraft, I'm going to talk a little more about that in a few slides. But it is our virtual production stage where we film projects. And then also attractions. So if you've ever been to a theme park, maybe Disneyland, Disney World, you may have seen some of our visual effects on some of the rides there. Game cinematics and commercials. So as you can see, we work on quite a bit more than just feature films. These are some of our current projects that we can talk about. So some of the ones coming up. I'm really excited for Deadpool and Wicked. And then these are some of our recent projects that you might have recently seen that we have been a part of. Okay, so I've talked a bit about who we are, but let's talk about the roles within our company and how we do visual effects. So the first place we're going to visit is artist roles. And these are kind of our main roles within the company. They are the ones that are doing the visual effects. And so at any visual effects studio, we have something called the pipeline. So the pipeline is the various stages and departments that a shot goes through from the script. And it's a collaborative journey that brings to life the magic of the visual effects. So kind of as you can see up there, it is almost like a real pipeline. A shot comes in and it goes through multiple different departments, and at the end it comes out and it is the shot that you see on the screen. So let's walk through what all of those different departments within the artist roles are. So the first one is concept art, or sometimes we call it the art department. So these artists paint what doesn't exist, and they give birth to many of our ideas. So they create references for everyone else to follow as we create our assets. So they use things like Photoshop, 3D applications. Sometimes they even use pen and paper. Also, just to note here at the bottom, there is a list of tools. So there we have Photoshop, Maya, Blender, and ZBrush. If you are interested in any of the roles that we're talking about today, that's going to just list what type of tools and software we would recommend that you might want to get familiar with or play with. So next up, we have modeling. So the modeling artists create the characters and the vehicles via the 3D software that we have. And you can think of them as digital sculptors. So just like in real life, they would be making sculptures. We just do this through the computer. So they create what is the base for an asset. And just to note, whenever I'm saying asset, I mean a digital object. So that could be a creature or a car or a building, or it could even be like a magical effect. So it's kind of our catch-all phrase to describe these types of items. So next up, we have texturing and look development. So as you can see in this last shot here, BB-8 is gray and really just a sculpture at this point. When you get to texturing look dev, they texture and paint, and they really bring our models to life. So they might be adding dirt, they might be adding scratches, but as you can see here, it's looking more and more like BB-8 once it gets to texturing and look development. So then we go to creature development, and these artists do rigging, and they take the models and they create skeletons and locomotion systems for them. So they're using a lot of math, and that they help to be able to make the assets move in a way that we need. So if there's going to be choreography or ways that we need our assets to move, they're the ones that are going to be able to make them do that. So they really are the ones that are creating the motion. Next up, we have our generalists, and these are our artists that know how to do everything. So they're the ones that are the most versatile and flexible of all of our artists, and they create environments like you see up there using pretty much any tool that's available to them. They need to know how to create detail and complexity, and they create beautiful landscapes. So they can be making jungles or deserts or cities. So they know how to do quite a bit. Okay, so next we have our layout artists. So they're the ones that really understand how cameras work in the real world, and they recreate them in the computer to allow us to place our creatures' environments among the practical sets and actors. So it's really an invisible art, but it's the foundation of all of our work. So this little video that we have up here, I like to show this because it does actually demonstrate exactly what a layout artist does with match move. So as you can see, there's actually like a puppet or a model that's on set. And what the layout artist is doing is overlaying the actual digital asset onto that live performing puppet on set. So they really have to know how to take that digital asset and move it into what was used on set. So next up is animation. And animators inherit those rigged assets, and they now have to control them to move them and kind of proceed to kind of breathe life into them. So they will painstakingly work through the timeline, 24 frames for each second, to make our characters move and our vehicles speed or drive down roads. And so they're the other ones that are really bringing our assets to life. Okay, effects. So if any of you are interested in blowing things up or doing magical effects, these are our artists that do that. So they control hundreds of millions of particles to create those big effects. So they can recreate forces of nature like fire and water and air. They destroy buildings, they blow up cars, they melt Terminators. So their job is kind of fun because they get to do kind of that traditional what you think of for visual effects. Next up, we have lighting. So this is at the end of the digital content creation process. So after all those departments have made the creatures and environments and crowds and effects, we have our lighting artists. And these are the artists that make digital assets respond to light in the correct manner, depending on the material that they're supposed to represent. So they're like cinematographers that capture the mood of the scenes with lighting, and they give all of our digital creations their looks. So as you can see in this image here, the mood is really set by the type of lighting that there is within the shot. So if there was more light, it might seem like BB-8 is there when the sun is rising or in the middle of the day, but really they set the mood with the amount of light that's in this shot. And finally, we get to compositing. So they are the artists that bring all of it together and produce the final image that you will see on the screen. So these artists collect all of the material from all of the different departments and they balance it all together so it sits nicely in one image. So sometimes they'll use additional elements shot with the purpose of adding a bit of like explosions or water splashes and other footage that will really just spice up that final image. But really, they are bringing everything together into that final shot that you'll see. So that takes us through our pipeline. That's our traditional pipeline of doing visual effects. But in recent years, Stagecraft has been developed by ILM. And it is our on-set virtual production visual effects technology, which is comprised of a video wall that's able to shoot in-camera effects. So the best way for me to show you what Stagecraft is to show you a video from those that actually use this technology.
Looks like that's the magic rock I'm supposed to take you to down there.
Stagecraft gives us the opportunity to be able to bring that production scale, size, scope, that kind of expansive storytelling in a way that we've never been able to shoot before.
We partnered with Jon Favreau to realize his vision for capturing in-camera, real-time visual effects and background plates on an LED volume.
Stagecraft is ILM's virtual production toolkit, and it's really an end-to-end solution. Everything from the early stages of previs and working with the art department, all the way through motion capture and working with, now, live pixels on set. So what you see on that LED wall is actually what goes straight into the show.
We could actually get in-camera finished visual effects that would really help us with the quick turnaround that television requires.
In that moment, when things are happening in front of the camera, you want that to be as pure and real as possible. So working with the volumes, creating environments, and even writing to the advantages of this methodology was something that I kind of quickly picked up.
There's a lot of stories that we tell here and that take advantage of utilizing the volume. You know, John and Dave have a very clear point of view about what works well there, and it's not fantasy for fantasy's sake. There is something in the DNA that feels like it's of our world.
Let's just get the beginning again, just for timing.
The DPs, the directors, and the actors can now see the world they're in and interact with that world the way they would if they were out on a real location. Focus pulling, pushing a real camera, getting the interaction from the lighting from the LEDs onto the actors.
Typically, the production designer creates their aspirational art, and that is then translated in a virtual art department.
Locations are created because they're digital assets, essentially. So the way that you scout is you do it in VR. And you basically block out your scene in this virtual world.
It was just a fresh new way of looking at stuff, and the way that you could decide on the landscape as well. It's a great throwback to a time when people would make decisions before post.
I'm able to put actors and cameras in this environment, and we can see it and play in it and live in it. It democratizes special effects and visual effects.
If you turn off the LED screens, what is actually practically there is very minimal. In other words, you don't have to build as much to create the scope of the sets that we want.
Everything comes back to honest lighting. Having LED screens means you start with something natural and real, and then you cut it, you darken it, you negative, you shape it to how you want it to feel. For all intents and purposes, the light that's hitting them, it is natural light.
Technology is at its best when it's so good that it becomes invisible, and that's what this is. You walk on the volume, and there you are in the middle of the world you're trying to create, and it's jaw-dropping.
Okay, so stagecraft is a really cool technology, and it's definitely something that we're always kind of innovating with and building upon. So after all of the artists' roles, there's also a department which is production. So the production roles, they're the ones that make sure that everything is happening on time and on budget. They're the ones that are really the project managers. So they make sure that a shot is going into the pipeline, going to all the different departments. They're making sure that all the client's notes are taken and relayed and completed and sent back. And then they're making sure that the shot is moving all the way through the pipeline and coming out at the end, like I said, on time and on budget. So there are a few different types of production roles within our studio, everything from production assistants and coordinators and managers, all the way up to executive VFX producers. So I've asked a production coordinator, what do they do in a day of their work? And it's quite a few different types of things. They can do things like manage show calendars, they send emails, they communicate with clients. If a artist needs a new type of software or tool, they make sure that we can afford to get it for them. And they also make sure that we have storage space. We need a lot of storage space for all of the work that we're doing. And that leads into technology. So as you can imagine, with all of these tools and software that we use, technology is really important within our studio. So technology is really tasked with maintaining and improving our artist workflows and making sure that all the tools that they need are working effectively and making sure that the pipeline is going as smooth as possible so that a project can be completed on time. We have lots of different types of technology roles, so production engineers, pipeline technical directors, technical assistants, and IT roles. One area that I think is really cool within technology is research and development. So say we're working on a new project and we want to do something that we've never done before, and this really ties back to being innovative. Our R&D team will be the ones that develop it. They will play with technologies and see what we can create and what we can accomplish to use in new projects. So along with production and technology, we also have support roles, or sometimes we'll call them business development roles. So we are the roles that help to support all of the work that's being done. So as you can see, we have facilities who make sure that our spaces and studios have everything that we need. Recruitment, for any students here that are thinking about coming into a studio like ILM, recruitment is definitely an area that you want to get familiar with. So all of the studios like ours will have recruiters, and they definitely connect with prospective artists within our studio. So connect with them on places like LinkedIn, or if you're at career fairs, always try and connect with our recruiters because they're the ones that are going to be able to help you come into a company like ours. We also have human resources. We have diversity and inclusion. So they help us with our employee resource groups. They help with education. And they're really key partners in making sure that our projects are representative. We have talent management. So if you are a prospective artist, talent managers are really good to get familiar with as well. They're the ones that do all of the casting on our shows. So if we have a project coming in, the talent manager of, say, the animators will decide which artists are going to go onto that project. So they're the ones that do all the casting of our artists onto shows. Training and development, which is where I come from. So I work with all of our junior programming and outreach. So I work with our schools and our community organizations to help connect with potential future talent. And then I help with programs like the Jedi Academy, which we'll speak more to. Our trainers also help with training our whole studio on all of our new technologies, our tools, and our software. So they're really busy on keeping everyone up to date on the newest things. We also have public relations. So anytime you see any of our social media, we have a whole team that helps to manage those channels. And then finance. They're the ones that make sure that we don't spend too much money. So resources. So if you are looking for resources or how you can learn more, get in the door, and that is what this presentation has been based off of, is get in the door. This is a great site to check out. So this was created by Lucasfilm in collaboration with all of its studios to create videos that document employees from all of the studios. They talk about their career journeys, how they got to where they are, what they do in their day-to-day roles. So this is a really great resource to learn more about what jobs and opportunities there are at a studio within Lucasfilm. Recommended software. So these were all kind of mentioned within the slides, but this is all of them just in one place. So if you are wanting to explore some of the different tools that we use or tools like the ones that we use, I would highly recommend starting to play with these. If you are a student or if you are a teacher, a lot of these are actually available for free. So you can get a student or teacher or facilitator or faculty member account and you're able to use them for free. So definitely check these out. Recommended websites. These are our own ones. So ILM.com, there's also Lucasfilm.com, and YouTube.com has all of our different videos that you can watch on there. Here's some more recommended websites that aren't our own. We have Walt Disney Animation up there. So we are a part of Disney. So we always also recommend checking out the Disney websites as well. Visual Effects Society. This has lots of different updates on things happening in general within the industry. Before and afters, FX Guide. These are all great websites if you are interested in visual effects. Some recommended books. The Illusion of Life, if you are interested in going to animation, this is kind of the one that you definitely want to check out if you can get your hands on it. We also have the VES Handbook of Visual Effects, Industrial Light Magic into the Digital Realm. So this isn't an official ILM book, but it definitely has some great insights in it. And then the Art and Science of Digital Compositing. So a few different books if you do want to read. Recruitment. So as I mentioned, for any students, definitely getting in touch with our recruitment team, connecting with them on LinkedIn is always key. Some of the best ways to come in as a junior is through our Jedi Academy. So our Jedi Academy is an umbrella term for two programs. So our intern program, which is kind of in our traditional business development side. So any of those support roles that I was talking about. So areas like training, HR, we hire interns throughout the summer and sometimes throughout the year. So you usually would come in and work with us for 4 to 6 months and get experience within those departments and then return to school. We also have what's called the trainee programs. So these are for artists. So you come into these programs and it's kind of like ILM school. So you come in and you train with us each day for 6 to 8 weeks, along with a cohort of other artists. And then at the end of that program, depending on production needs, we then hire junior artists. So it's a really great way to get fully immersed within ILM and to get to know disciplines and departments before transitioning into working on show work. And currently, San Francisco doesn't have any Jedi Academies announced for this year yet for trainee programs. We did just complete our intern hiring, but usually we post in about November to January. So keep an eye on the next ones. This is our recruitment guide. It is available on our website. So it's available on Lucasfilm's website. And these are some tips and tricks if you are applying for a role as a visual effects artist. So There's lots of information on there about portfolio work, about the type of experience that we would hope that you have. Things like volunteer work, if you're able to volunteer at conferences or at different art events, that is always great on a resume, especially for juniors. Industry involvement, industry knowledge, learning as much as you can, attending presentations like this, or Googling, going on those websites. Having industry knowledge is really key and important when you are applying for jobs at a place like ILM. Enthusiasm for the work in the industry. This is really important. I think I get a lot of questions from students or teachers asking, how can a junior artist set themselves apart when they're applying? And the answer I always give is enthusiasm and passion for the work. I have seen juniors apply for Jedi Academies, and afterwards, supervisors will say, you know, we had one artist who has a lot more experience or maybe is just a little bit stronger, but then we had somebody who has a lot of potential and was really passionate and was really excited about the potential of working with us. And they've gone with that applicant who has more passion and potential because they want to work with those that are just as excited as we are for the work that we do. So that is one tip I would give, is definitely always have enthusiasm and passion for the work. Knowledge and interest of ILM, communication skills, and team player. As I mentioned, our studio is built on collaboration. It's a team project, and so we want to be able to bring people in that are going to be able to play on the team. So some more recruitment tools here. Disney Careers, as I mentioned, we are part of Disney. So this is where all of our roles get posted. LinkedIn, if you don't have a LinkedIn, it's definitely a great place to connect with those that work at ILM and Lucasfilm. Facebook and Twitter. So those are some good places for you to get connected. Now, I wanted to end with a bit of a video and insight into a little more about Lucasfilm in general.
The incredible thing about Lucasfilm is everybody is working around the same story ideas, the same values. Everybody involved sets a very high bar in terms of quality.
We have such great people here and such great talent to drive that story, that sequence, something that has actually touched you deeply.
We mix the technology and the art together. That just opens the door for different kinds of creative storytelling opportunities.
You have the opportunity to work side by side with people who pioneered an entire industry. People who've got that passion, that audacity to think that there is no story point or imagery that is asked of us that we won't be able to figure out.
When you're near somebody who's expressing a high level of creativity that inspires you, you get a group like that together and amazing things happen.
We're really able to push the envelope, driving new forms of entertainment in completely uncharted territory.
This is a job of imagination and dreams. We all try very hard to make the magic happen.
I love the creative process, working on story, inventing things, and what better way to do that than inside the Star Wars universe?
Every division is working with such passion. It just gives me goosebumps, the idea of what's coming.
You might want to buckle up, baby.
So that is the overview and insight into our studio, but we'd love to open it up to all of you. If you have any questions or there's anything that you're curious about, we'll open it up for questions.
I actually have a few that are
You
in
have
the
a few?
chat that
Perfect.
I will kind of send along your way.
That sounds
A
great.
few of them are surrounding the Jedi Academy.
Okay.
So I had someone ask if you have to be a student to be eligible for the Jedi Academy programs, and are there Jedi Academy opportunities in Canada?
Yeah. So for internships, you do need to be a student. So either a current student in post-secondary, so college or university, or very recently graduated. For our trainee program, so for those artist training programs, we usually hire soon-to-be or recent post-secondary graduates. However, sometimes we will hire artists that have 2 years or less experience within the industry. So it really is for those that are truly junior or just starting out in the industry. And for Canada, yes. So I'm actually based in Vancouver. I'm in Vancouver right now. We do offer Jedi Academies here. We are just wrapping up our hiring for summer internships, but for artist training programs, we are expected to announce those in the coming months. So keep an eye out. There will be opportunities for our Vancouver studio.
All right. Let's see if there's another one here that I was going to answer. So we had someone ask for ILM employees who work outside of the art and production departments. Are they also required to have skills in 2D, 3D technology tools as well?
Shannon, do you want to take that one?
I will take that one, yes. So I would say an interest is always great. If you're going to be in the finance department, you may not need to know something like Maya or ZBrush or Blender or any of that. A lot of people that work with us kind of dip into things and learn as they're going along. We also have things like life drawing classes, or kind of introduction level classes that you can learn if you're not in the artistic side of things. So it's not necessary, but we're really big on folks that are interested in what we do and the projects that we work on. And we have another question. So this is a little bit longer of a question, but I think I understand what you're getting at. You said, I graduated with a degree in history and entrepreneurship in 2023, but I decided to pursue entertainment business as well as animation video game development. In particular, screenwriting, character modeling, and marketing. I've been writing my first feature film and learning how to use Blender 3D, ZBrush, but I'm not sure I can gain work experience or internships in this industry given my academic background. Any advice for someone jumping to a new industry?
Oh, I love that question. We have a lot of people from different backgrounds within ILM. So we see a lot of people changing industries. For myself, I actually come from an education background. My undergrad is in psychology and sociology, and then I worked in the university setting for many years before coming into our studio. And that is not an uncommon pathway in. So I think it depends on where within the business you want to come in and where your experience is. But I always say if there's an opportunity for you to come in, there's definitely opportunity to grow within the company as well. So business is something that is definitely going to translate. You have transferable skills. Business is all about project management and teamwork and collaboration, and all of those are key skills to be able to have to come into ILM. Shannon, as a recruiter, I don't know if you have any advice as well.
I would say similar. So I would use that kind of history background that you have, and entrepreneurship. Those are both absolutely things that can be relevant to visual effects and animation at large. A lot of people that I know that graduated with a history degree actually are texture artists. So they go back through, if we're working on a film with the gladiators in it, they'll go back, look at the pictures of the Colosseum, and of the gladiator metallic suits, and take the history of that all and then learn how to use those textures on the different characters. So you're actually doing a lot of research, a lot of reference, and using kind of your knowledge that you already have. So yes, like Kim said, we look at people from all sorts of backgrounds, and that's why I also love that Get in the Door page, because you can hear from the people that are actually working with us where they got their start, and they're all over. So yeah.
I see a couple hands as well. Anna, I know your hand went up pretty quick.
Hello, nice to
Hi.
meet you. My name is Ana
Nice to meet you.
Mendoza, and I am about to graduate from Cal State Long Beach with
Congratulations.
film and electronic arts. Thank you. And my question is, if I want to start working more on like the production side, how could I go on to start being like a PA in these kind of like productions? Is it like helpful to, I mean, I'm sure it's helpful, but to be actually where I'm sure you do this in Georgia, to like be in the area and like RPAs hired from there, or is it like a different process? I would love to know more about that.
So I have actually hired production assistants, and we typically, the resumes that we look at are deep in that passion again. So we have people that have worked at a film festival, or that have taught maybe some people in junior high animation techniques, or they volunteered at a Women in Animation event, or anything like that. Those all have been on resumes. You can also, with Cal State Long Beach, I know they have a great animation department, and talk on anything that was done at Cal State Long Beach. But yeah, you don't need to have gobs of experience in the film industry. We like to see that you're interested in it, and that you might have pursued surrounding opportunities around it.
Thank you so much.
Sure. And then Dara.
Hi, thank you very much for the the information and all that you are doing to set this up. I had a question. So I'm a Houdini effects artist, and I applied for the 2024 trainee program for effects artists. And I was just wondering if there were any updates as far as those applications, because I believe I applied in November last year.
Was that for, sorry, did you say the Jedi Academy?
I believe it was the effects trainee program, which is that associated with the Jedi Academy? I'm not sure.
It might be. Was it the one in San Francisco?
I believe maybe it was, yeah, it was a while ago, so I can't really remember, and I'm having trouble logging into the Workday candidate page.
Okay. It might have been, I know we just ran one in the UK. So we do run Jedi Academies as well in all of our studios. So all 5 of our studios, we run them. Shannon, do you know what candidates would hear back?
There's definitely in the US.
Yeah, usually for Jedi Academies, that process takes about anywhere between 2 and 3 months.
Okay.
The other thing is it may have switched to another location. Because we have those 5 global locations, we move some of our work between them. And the Jedi Academy is usually based on work that's going to be coming up for us, so that there may be an opportunity after you're done. So yeah, that is the general time period.
Okay. Well, do y'all also, for those applications, do you also like see, because y'all have so many different locations, do y'all apply them to different locations as well, those applications?
Yeah, it just depends on where you live. So Most of the academies are taking people from the country that they're being held in. Also, if there isn't a Jedi Academy for effects at the moment, depending on your skill level, you can apply for a regular effects artist position. And we'd be glad to take a look at that work.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Yeah. I had someone ask, and then I'll call on a couple of the other folks. A lot of the animation work is done overseas. What are the normal animation opportunities at Lucasfilm Animation? So there is a bit of work done overseas, but we also have quite a number of artists that are in San Francisco. And funny enough, we actually have a couple of animator positions open right now. Should be on our Lucasfilm animation page and also the Disney careers site. So if you're looking for those San Francisco based animation positions, that's the best place to go. And then I'll call on, is it Giselle?
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
I have a very simple question. I was just wondering if you guys are going to be at the Game Developers Conference next week.
I do know that. So I believe that we're not going to have a panel there, but we will have people from ILM Immersive. That's the division that does a lot of mixed reality, virtual reality, immersive work. And they will probably be wearing their t-shirts there. So look for ILM Immersive t-shirts. There'll be a few of them there. Sure. This is a good question. What's your personal favorite part about the ILM company culture, and how does it affect the daily lives of artists?
I would say personally, for me, I would say it's how collaborative everyone is. So I think it's, I know for me, when I very first came into the company, it was intimidating sometimes because you would be sitting in an office and there's John Knoll, the man that created Photoshop, sitting just down from you or walking by. And it was like, oh, here are these, amazing people that have done amazing work. Or you might pass somebody who, worked on the very first Jurassic Park. But the really cool thing is they are just as excited about the work that they've done, and they're just as excited to talk about it. And they want to know from everyone else in the company what they're doing and what they're working on and how everybody can support one another. And especially working with juniors, I think it's really inspiring and exciting to see some of those senior artists that have been here for a long time working on some of those amazing projects, be excited to see about the ideas and the things that our junior artists want to do. And so I think it's being in a culture where nothing is seen as, there's no stupid questions. Everything is about being curious and being innovative and being collaborative. That is, I think, the thing that makes me excited to come to work every day.
Yeah, and
Shannon?
I'd say similar. It's amazing that you can not only learn from someone who's been there a couple of months, but someone who's been there for 30 or 40 years and has been doing this since the beginning of visual effects. I've worked at a lot of different studios as both an artist and a recruiter, and it is one of the best for training as well. So it is not only on the junior and the Jedi Academy and the internships, but also if you come in, like I said, and you're in like the finance department or the operations areas, and you want to learn something about the art, there is training that you can look into for that. And for those that are artists, we just talked to somebody that was specializing in Houdini, but they might want to learn about lighting. So you can take classes on that as well. So it's a great place to cross-train and learn beyond your department. Let's see, and then there's
I saw one question about, do you have to be eligible to work in Canada in order to apply? So that's kind of a quick one that I can speak to. We do give priority to domestic students. So that is especially for our trainee programs. It is for Canadian citizens or PR. And for interns, we try to hire domestic as well. But you can always apply as well to the roles if you don't have Canadian citizenship.
I did see a question a bit earlier about if we had people that specialized versus being generalists. We actually do. Though some of what you saw today was generalist work, we actually have people that specialize in every part of the pipeline. So we will hire people that know lighting for lighting and effects for effects and animation for animation. When we say generalists, for our purposes, it's very heavily environment modeling. So all of those things that you saw on the screen in that stagecraft presentation, those all have to be modeled and then kind of put up and projected on the screen. So those people know how to model, how to texture, how to light. And so that is helpful in those situations. But we also have, I'd say, the majority of our people that are doing one specialty. There's a few others on. Actually, you know what? I'm going to call on Andrea. I see your hand
Hi
raised for a
there.
long time. Thanks.
No, it's okay. I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat, but hi, my name is Andrea. I am a student here at Cal State Channel Islands. I was also a transfer from Otis Art and Design. My degree is in illustration, concept art, and graphic design. My question to you is regarding the graphic design careers at ILM. Is there also opportunities regarding like marketing, social media, apparel design? Because I know that do you guys also hire freelance when it comes to, like, I see Star Wars apparel in like Disney parks, for instance? Is that all connected?
So our graphic design department does quite a few things. So they can work on anything from, like you were saying, social media, to anything we might pass out at a conference, any of our brochures. They also work on much larger things like our big events that we attend, including Star Wars Celebration. So that's a big thing that's put on with the help of many artists, our PR team, and graphic design as well. On the apparel front, I don't know the answer to that one, but I know that Disney actually has a consumer products division. So
Okay.
the larger Disney. Yeah.
Oh, okay, no problem. And is there any currently like graphic design internships at ILM at the Jedi Academy?
We don't have graphic design. We do have publicity, which would probably be the closest thing to that.
Okay.
And I think we just finished hiring for that one, but we will post again for next year in between October and January.
Oh, okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure if I did apply, I wanted to apply to the correct areas.
Yes. I know Disney does. So as Shannon mentioned, Disney does actually have consumer product department. I don't know for sure, but they might have internships as well. You could check out the Disney career site, and they work with all of the different areas. So all of the different, whether it's Star Wars or Indiana Jones, they work with all of that different licensing.
Yeah, and I'm just waiting to hear back. I actually applied for the product design and also for the graphic design internship. As
Awesome.
my application is under review. I'm just waiting.
Perfect. That's the first step. So that's you're on the pathway. That's great.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
And then I think Abby will be the last question, as we're about to hit 3 o'clock. So I want to make sure everybody can get to the 3 o'clock session.
Well, hi. My question here is about what do you look in an animation position in the demo reel or experience? Yeah, like that.
That is all Shannon. Shannon watches lots of demo reels.
I do. I do. So in animation, it's a mixture. And it also depends on whether you're going for ILM or for Lucasfilm animation. They're a little bit different. But for animation, I see a lot of portfolios where people will have a run cycle or a walk cycle or the bouncing ball kind of moving along the screen. What I recommend to folks is a mix of having some animation that has characters or creatures or props playing off against each other. It creates a lot more of a story and emotion behind the scene. It just shows off more of your skills when you do a full scene versus somebody stretching or doing something like that. The other thing I really have people concentrate on, especially as they're coming out of school, is dialogue shots and the facial muscles and there are so many muscles in the face and your eyebrows and that that can convey emotion. Just the way that your eyes open and close. Also, something that I tell people to do is to have a bit of range in your portfolio when you're coming out of school as well. So what I mean by that is to have a little bit of character animation, a little bit of creature animation, and a little bit of prop animation. I always use the example of BB-8 because BB-8 is a rolling robot, but it still is something that can be animated, or even a vehicle or even a prop. So that shows your range across multiple arenas for us, at least for our company, because we work on so many different types of projects. That would be helpful for animation.
Okay, thank you so much.
And yeah, and you all have my name and Kim's. I do have that recruitment guide. So if you're interested, you can link in with me. And we're so thankful that you came today, and we're glad to have you here. We'll wish
Thank you
you a
so
good
much.
day.
Have a nice day.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.